Assassin's Creed.
The memories of our ancestors.
And the Animus lets you decode and read these DNA files.
Precisely.
The one that started it all. Plenty of people count the first Assassin's Creed as their favorite, despite its obvious shortcomings compared to its successors. That's nothing against the game, of course. Ubisoft took all the feedback on board and massively iterated for the sequels. But if you still claim that the first game is your all-time favorite, you're one of those people who adamantly believes that the original version of something is always the best. Maybe you can't see the improvements the other games brought, and you love your game with its washed-out colors and complete lack of subtitles unconditionally. Hats off to you in that case. Assassin's Creed 2.
It's not necessary. Besides, I've no money for this doctor of yours.
Wasted it on women and wine, huh?
I'd hardly call it wasted.
Is Assassin's Creed 2 the best game in the series? A lot of people will tell you that it is, but how can you be so sure that those people actually played the sequels, which perfected all the ideas that the second game introduced? It's definitely up there as one of the all-time greats, but if you're a die-hard fan, you may have the sneaking suspicion that anybody who swears by 2 actually stopped playing the series here, assuming that it could never get any better. But it's certainly not a bad choice for a favorite, especially if you love exploring its iconic locations like Florence and Venice, which haven't reappeared in subsequent games. Assassin's Creed Brotherhood.
Told of a terrible tragedy to befall mankind in the future, but gave hope of lost temples that will provide aid to humanity.
It's known to fans as being the hardest in the series. It's got a stingy 100% requirement, and the requirements don't reset if you restart at a checkpoint. This means that if you fail an optional objective, you have to do the entire mission over again from the beginning. As well as that, it has frequent sections where you will immediately desynchronize if you get spotted. If you like testing your mettle and are a glutton for punishment, Brotherhood could be your favorite title, since going full completion is very demanding, but it's also a perfect game. There's a reason we named it our overall best Assassin's Creed game of all time. Just saying.
Insieme. Uncle, be careful.
I will.
Assassin's Creed Revelations.
What am I doing? What have I done?
You definitely know who you are and aren't afraid to be bold if your favorite game is Revelations. It takes a lot of guts to admit that this franchise black sheep is your preferred way to while away the hours, considering it's often forgotten in favor of its predecessors. If you get a lot of enjoyment from Revelations, you may have also spent a lot of time in your childhood playing tower defense flash games, because Ubisoft inexplicably decided to add a den defense minigame that has thankfully never returned to the series. But if you long for the simpler days of Newgrounds, you'll feel right at home here.
We have won the day and recovered our den, but we lost a few friends in this fight.
Assassin's Creed 3.
That seems to be the last of them.
You just love to go against the grain and profess how enlightened you are to appreciate Assassin's Creed 3 above all others. Despite its myriad issues, like its tedious UI, frustrating map, and very poorly thought out enemy placements, you've decided that this is your favorite, probably just because you have something to prove. You're more refined than those other Assassin's Creed fans, and you appreciate the intergenerational story of the Kenways in the Americas. You probably also claim to love the Star Wars prequels, because being a contrarian is where you find the most joy. And you know what? Don't let us stop you. God bless.
Hurry before he gets away! I said go!
Assassin's Creed 3 Liberation.
Are you the captain of this ship?
Sí. Capitan Carlos Dominguez, at your service.
You are a true fan if Liberation is your favorite. Not satisfied with the mainline releases, you might have also played the DS and mobile spin-offs, not to mention Assassin's Creed Chronicles. But Liberation is a simple and fun game that entertains you without demanding too much, and without requiring a deep knowledge of all the lore that came before it. Even if you want to collect every item, it's not going to take so long that it becomes boring. If you like this game, you're just happy to sit back, enjoy the ride, and see where it takes you. Or maybe it's your favorite because you have a crush on Aveline, and if that's the case, don't let us judge you. You keep doing you.
Will you show me the place? Thought you'd never ask.
Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag. Have you ever had an original thought in your life? We're only joking, but if Black Flag is your favorite, it's likely that you're happy to go along with what's popular. After all, things become popular for a reason, and Black Flag is a phenomenal game. It's potentially the best pirate game ever made, but you may also be the kind of person who watches every MCU movie, and your favorite TV show is Breaking Bad, or the first few seasons of Game of Thrones. But there's nothing wrong with that, you just like the things that you like that coincidentally are all the things that everybody else likes too. Coincidentally. Assassin's Creed Rogue.
What happened here?
My men were attacked by some English sea dogs.
Why, Captain Joseph, couldn't you fight them all off by yourself like you're always saying?
Maybe you've never dreamed of being a pirate. Maybe instead you long for a simpler life working as a fisherman somewhere in New England, doing everything a fisherman does, going to war with the French, synchronizing viewpoints, and taking over the bases of rival gangs. In all honesty, it's definitely an unusual game to have as a favorite. There's nothing wrong with it other than its short length, but maybe that's what you prefer. You want a game that will be a blast to play, but it will respect your time, not taking over 100 hours to beat, and there's plenty to do if you want to go for full completion. So, not a bad choice, but you could do better.
I had such hopes for you, Shay.
Assassin's Creed Unity.
It was my fault. I'm the one who took the apple. Let's see where they're going.
The stark opposite of a fan of Black Flag, fans of Unity don't follow the herd. They always take the road less traveled and are willing to make their own decisions about the art they enjoy. Unity has gotten a bad rap over the years thanks to its technical issues at launch, and if it's your favorite game, you've probably dedicated hours of your life to explaining that not only is the FPS fixed now, but the faceless glitch wasn't even that common. Unity is a gorgeous and detailed recreation of revolutionary Paris. You're in the midst of one of the most important events ever, and your love of history is what keeps you coming back to Arno.
How did you...
Your father was an assassin, Arno. He gave his life, fighting for the liberty of all mankind.
Assassin's Creed Syndicate.
Have fun.
Don't die.
Jacob or Evie, which Fry twin is your favorite? Well, maybe you're not picking favorites at all and can see the pros and cons of each of them. Yes, if you enjoy alternating between these two fun protagonists, you might be bisexual and able to appreciate Jacob's easy charisma and Evie's skill with that cane sword. Alternately, maybe you're an Anglophile. You could have spent too long watching BBC period dramas and now you dream of living in Victorian London and rubbing shoulders with Charles Dickens and Her Majesty. It's one of the best open worlds in the series, so there are definitely worse forms of escapism. Assassin's Creed Origins.
Let's go on a real hunt. Huh?
All right.
Come.
You're not like the other girls, are you? You don't care for Norse or Greek mythology. Egypt is where it's at for you, even if nobody else knows the names of the Egyptian gods. You're fascinated by the culture that built the pyramids, and you have an interest in Roman history too. Or maybe none of that is true. Maybe you're actually a diehard fan of Origins because of the combat, which completely reinvented everything Assassin's Creed was and turned it into an RPG, complete with complex boss battles. This story is a little dense and doesn't get interesting until the end, but you don't care. You just want to worship Sobek and then defeat him in combat.
Hiya, already showing Bayek the best places to make love, huh?
Enough, folks.
Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
Spartans! Every breath that you have taken has led you to this moment.
You know it, we know it, everybody knows it. If Odyssey is your favorite game, you were a Greek mythology kid. Maybe you also grew up on Percy Jackson or are older and know all the songs from Disney's Hercules. Whatever the reason, you love this exploration of ancient Greece to death, and you'll adamantly defend it despite its flaws. It's got everything you could want from a Grecian game: seafaring, glory-seeking, plenty of vineyards, and huge mythological creatures to slay. You always wanted to find out you were secretly a demigod and get sent to Camp Half-Blood, and this is the way to get there.
Xerxes sends his sheep to slaughter. Come, Persian!
Assassin's Creed Valhalla. If this is your favorite, are you even a true Assassin's Creed fan? Or are you actually a huge fan of The Witcher who picked this up because you didn't want to replay The Witcher 3 again? Ubisoft is clearly full of Witcher fans, because this is the second time they've tried to just make a Witcher game without really understanding why people like those games so much. Valhalla is plenty of fun. I didn't think so, but, you know, some people did, especially when you find a loadout in a build you like, but it's just way too big. Much of the side content, particularly the artifacts, aren't fun to complete, and you have to be a true masochist to attempt to clear the map and solve all the Cairn puzzles. If Valhalla is your favorite, you may not even value your own time at all. Assassin's Creed Mirage. Ultimately, Assassin's Creed Mirage was just fine. It went back to basics and refused to reinvent the wheel, giving us a great map with lots of interesting things to do, but it also gave us a weak story. If Mirage is your favorite in the franchise, it may be the only Assassin's Creed game you've played to completion. It doesn't have the heart and soul of those older games it's trying to emulate, and Basim is a duller character than most of the other AC protagonists, and duller than himself when he appears, much older in Valhalla. But if this is your first ever Assassin's Creed experience, we suppose we can't blame you for having a soft spot for it.
That object, it did something to me. I was somewhere else.
But enough of our judgments. Let us know down in the comments whether we were accurate or if we were way off the mark.
I know you're there, Ezio! The Pope told me about you and your little group of assassins.
And don't forget to subscribe to MojoPlays for more great videos every day.